Hi, this is Mariah Gullo from The Hollywood Reporter, and we're in studio today with Harry Lloyd.
Hi.
Hi. So season 2 of Counterpart is upon us.
Almost. Yeah, it's almost here, finally. It feels like we were shooting season 2 for a long time.
Really?
We started on the coldest day in Berlin, 28th of February, and we finished in like sweltering hot, late September Berlin.
Wow.
Nuts,
And did you have any filming in LA this time? Or was
yeah,
there
we
a
did the
little
middle
back and
chunk
forth?
in LA, about 2-3 months in LA for a lot of the studio stuff.
But you experienced some great Berlin weather, some
yeah,
nice extreme
we got
Berlin
both ends of
weather.
Berlin. When the whole season is, well, hopefully no one will notice.
Well, we're starting off with, more mysteries than, more questions than answers,
Sure.
I believe.
Sure.
But I think that's the fun of the show.
Yeah, you want to start off with some more questions, for sure. Yeah.
What do you think is the overall theme of season 2?
Interesting. I was talking to Justin, the creator, last night. We had a nice cast dinner now that we're all in town for the premiere tonight. And he said, I just realised quite recently in the edit what the theme of season 2 is. And it's about the fact that this, whether we like it or not, is a war between these two sides. And these two versions of a single person cannot coexist. And as soon as you accept that, you might get ahead. That's
very interesting. It's a very kind of Darwinian sort of idea.
I thought it was interesting.
Two people occupying, in Darwinism, it's two species occupying the same niche, the same environment. One has to go.
Yeah. It's, I mean, there's all kinds of things in season 2. I haven't finished watching it. I'm about halfway through. But seeing it now, all put together, it's bigger than season 1, but it's so rewarding. And you've taken a long time in season 1 to understand just the concept of how these two worlds kind of coexist in this Cold War, and it feels like the Cold War, but it's not. And you kind of understand the rules now, and now you can start really having some fun with it and asking those questions. And people will be asking their own questions, and actually you can't trust anyone because all the weird sleeper agents around. You don't know who's from what side or who's loyal to what, and everyone's either hiding a massive secret, like my guy, or trying to find out something that their life depends on. Also, kind of my guy. Like everyone is in high stakes territory.
Yeah. We're seeing a little glimpse of the Alpha Prime marriages, and they seem pretty intense.
Yes, I think that's fair to say. Yeah, it's sorry.
You're like, I'm not going to say anything more than that.
I've got to be careful. Yeah.
One thing we haven't seen yet is the Prime version of Peter Quayle. Are we going to get to see him in this season?
Legally, I'm not allowed to say it, but I will say that we were all told before we started shooting season 1, that every character has another. Whether the audience meet them or will meet them is up for grabs, but he exists.
Right.
Sure.
Eventually you find out what happens to them or where they exist.
I know
or
a little
not.
bit about Quayle Prime.
Yeah.
I will say. Yeah, sure.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Tell me a little bit about working with J.K. Simmons. Is he somebody that you kind of glean experience from, or just because of the age difference?
Just
and
the experience and the talent, of course. You soak it up. I mean, of course, to be fair, before you met the guy, I was absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen Whiplash, and I thought,
it's a good introduction to him as a person.
Yeah, but no, he's completely lovely. He's like a dad. He's always, you're talking about family and just real life stuff. And I end up on set this season. I end up talking to him loads about a lot of the theatre he's done. Like, cause he started off doing loads of musical theatre before he started doing TV, and talking about plays and Broadway and But he's someone also that on camera as well, you can really have fun. Like once you're on board and we've talked about the script and we've rehearsed it, then you can kind of throw each other around a bit, and it's really kind of playful. But now we're kind of more comfortable in our kind of characters, and in this season, Peter Quayle and Howard Prime have a lot to do together because they're the only two people who know certain things. Yeah. And they're always kind of quite grumpy with each other. They're like this.
Yeah, they have a contentious relationship.
Yeah, it's like a slightly old married couple. They have to live with each other, but they don't like it.
Yeah.
So there's always quite a lot of fun. I really enjoy working with them.
That's fun, the back and forth between it. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, do you have to be like, hey,
Yeah, no,
I didn't mean that.
No, it's always. I think you wouldn't do it if there was any question that you might take it personally. No, I think we're all on the same page. I hope.
There's so many mysteries to uncover. Are there any that you're wondering, like who is leading the Prime world? Who's on the other side of the video cameras?
Yeah, I have loads of questions. And every time, for example, Justin last night was talking to me about the ideas he has, if we're lucky enough to get a third season, which we'll be finding out. And I always want to say, Justin, I have this great idea. What if this? And he says, you know what, I'm thinking actually we were going to do this and then this. I was like, do that. That's so clever. So I'm always desperate to hear as much as anyone else what's going to happen next and what they're playing with. But yeah, I still got lots of questions. For sure.
Yeah. Is there anything you can tease out about the world building of the season?
Oh, I'll get in so much trouble. What can I say? Well, episode 1 is just Peter has made a pretty defining decision at the end of that episode that he will no longer simply be the guy trying to have it both ways. And like what we were saying earlier, that you kind of have to pick a side. You are at war.
Right.
People like Peter and a lot of the characters at the end of season 1, they're trying to have it both ways. And this season is all about you've got to pick a side ultimately. And Peter seems to be edging that way.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Very ambiguous and not clear at all.
He's heading towards a side.
He's less vague than he was.
Okay. Very good. Let's talk a little bit about The Wife. This movie is getting a lot of awards season attention.
I only just found that out. Yeah.
Really?
You turn up in LA and suddenly everyone talks to you about awards. I was like, that's fantastic.
Everybody's talking about it. Yeah. How did you get involved in the project?
A long time ago, I went for a meeting with Bjorn, the director, and he was meeting a couple of people for this part, and then I think he talked to me about it, and he showed me this book and it sounded amazing, and then I came in. I think I read for him, and I got offered it way before we started filming it, and then I think it got moved back a little bit, and eventually we shot it all in Scotland, and even though it was all set, and they did a little bit in Sweden. And it was wonderful. It was me and Glenn and Jonathan Pryce and Annie, Glenn's daughter, playing 2 versions of this couple.
Yeah.
Holed up in this very chilly city in Scotland and hanging out and playing backgammon. It was very civilised with this wonderful Scandinavian director. It was a really happy job.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Did you have to do any research to play a young Jonathan Pryce?
Sure. I mean, I kind of knew Jonathan a little bit before. We used to live near each other. And I spent when I was working on the accent, playing him in the 1950s, the accent would have been a little bit stronger, slightly more kind of the Jewish New York. So I was working on that and then trying to hint a little bit towards his accent. And then as ever, you try and do too many things at once and then you throw it all away and hope some of it is stuck. But yeah, we talked a lot about the character, me and Jonathan, beforehand, about things that he was doing. But it was a bit like when I played the young Jim Broadbent in a film. I thought I looked nothing like Jim Broadbent, and neither of us really looked like the guy we're meant to be playing. So you do certain things, and then you kind of just play the scene, and hopefully, the magic of film will take care of it.
It is. I mean, it's unusual to work on a movie where you're playing a younger version of 2 other actors, and actually have the actors there to be able to talk to and interact with.
It's true. On both those films, I was really lucky that I had access to both these very esteemed older actors who were both playing the main part, and I was just kind of a supporting character. Introducing some aspects of the background, but both were actually really. And I asked the director both times, can I, can we have a meeting and talk about it? And everyone was always really open. I find that with actors, as ever kind of scary or intimidated, like J.K. Simmons, you might be of them. When you get down and start talking about the work, then you're all on the same side, and it's really often a really lovely environment.
Glenn Close has said that it took about 14 years to get this movie made.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, it took almost 2 years from me being involved, which was very late on. So, it's one of those. But it's because a lot of people fought very hard to make it, and they're very passionate about it. And I'm so glad that they all stuck it out, because I think it's a really special little film.
Yeah, she did say that some of the difficulty was just the title, that it was The Wife, and
oh, really?
That
Interesting.
A lot of people didn't want to get involved because, especially actors, she just kind of alluded to the fact that calling a movie The Wife. Maybe it wasn't the right time to make it.
Yeah.
Did it feel like it was a movie for like this time, this age? What we're doing right now?
I
The
don't
climate.
know. Frank, I mean, to be honest, in terms of the climate of all that, it wasn't really in my mind when we were shooting it, because like I said, we did it a couple, 2-3 years ago almost. But it's everything with stuff which ends up being timely when it's actually delivered to the audiences, regardless of when you actually made it. I think it's when people are thinking about stuff and you connect to something that's honest and truthful about difficult subjects. Hopefully it will always resonate with whatever the climate is today. I remember when I was reading it, I didn't think this is a great story for today. I just thought this is a great story, and I did not know where it was going, and I was fascinated by this relationship and how messy it was and how they talked to each other. I just really liked the observation of it.
So I have to talk to you about Game of Thrones.
Sure.
I assume that you are very excited to see the last season,
Very excited.
like the rest of us.
Very excited. Yeah.
You know, it's funny that your character was done after season 1, but he's still relevant in that his plot to take over the world is finally coming into fruition through his sister.
I mean, the Targaryens are tricky people to kill. Yeah. I mean, they will. Yeah. No. His legacy lives on, I feel.
Yeah. Have you spoken to any of the actors, or is there like a dead characters club that
we're
gets
not
to
allowed
talk
to
to each
speak.
other?
Yeah. No. You're allowed to speak to other people that have died, but you're no longer allowed to actually fraternize with people still in the show. It's frowned upon.
Wow. Really? So you don't really get to talk to Amelia about anything, but
No, I know it's no. The producers would clamp down on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But have you talked to Jason Momoa at all?
I haven't spoken to Jason recently, but I see billboards of him all over town.
Right.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing his new film for sure.
Yeah. Do you have any, like, are you rooting for any particular outcome?
I always thought Hodor should have been in charge of everything, but unlikely at this point.
So you just want to watch and see what happens?
Yeah, I'm a fan like anyone else now.
You're not placing any bets?
No, and I have no inside knowledge at all. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Harry Lloyd, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And Counterpart Season 2 is upon us, and The Wife is in theaters. Thank you.